From Parts Unknown, the Shel Answerman Show, starring Shel Shelverstein with Joe Jolverstein. Tonight's guest, Light. And now, here's Shelly. Shel, hello.
Hey, how you doing, Joe?
I'm doing well. We have a question for you tonight, Shel.
All right, what's the question tonight?
The question is, if I want to read a book, if I need some light, how do I make a light?
How do you make light? Oh my gosh. This reminds me of something that goes through my head every now and then. Have you ever thought of this? That what if you were put into a time machine and you went back in time and you had all this stuff that in your head is out there to invent, or that existed, could exist, but how much of it would you be able to actually produce? Or would you know how to build this or that? Or could you produce something like the radio? Could you produce or make a radio? Some of this you just couldn't. And and it would be very tough to live under that, knowing that all that stuff existed and you could help out all those people that didn't know how to make this or that, only you just didn't learn enough maybe while you were in that time frame. I know it's kind of weird, but
Shel, Your Honor, I would like to strike that from the record, please. Obfuscating, Your Honor. Obfuscating. Shel is obfuscating, Your Honor. Hey, Shel, that's true. In fact, the professor on Gilligan's Island, he made a radio out of bamboo and coconuts. Yes, he made everything on the freaking Gilligan's Island. He made everything because he had coconuts and bamboo. And usually the ship's battery was involved. They still had the ship's battery, so they had some power. But even then, they probably didn't need power. They probably did a bicycle and made electricity. Oh.
Well, even that, could you make electricity? Anyway,
it's not how do you make light, it's how do you make a light. So the answers can vary. And so you can give various answers.
Wow. How do you make a light? Like like a light bulb. I guess you're talking about something like that.
Did I say light bulb, you son of a gun?
No, you didn't say light bulb. A light. Well, you just set something on fire and make a light.
Well, that begs the question. That even begs the question. How do you set something on fire?
Oh, yes. So you got to have oxygen and something to burn. And the tough part is just getting it all started. Yeah. So from a spark, flint and steel.
If you were in Parts Unknown, South Carolina, and you were in the woods, I suppose, could you find flint and steel? How difficult would it be to start a spark?
Yeah, right. Good point.
No,
So
I'm asking, what is your question, Shel Answerman, Shel Shelverstein?
yeah, no, it would be very hard to find steel. You just have to find something. It'd probably be easier to find something man-made that somebody had thrown away as far as the steel. And then the flint, if your area just doesn't have, flint, that might be kind of tough.
Does your area have flint?
I don't think so. I don't ever run across any flint where I live. If I did, I didn't recognize it as flint and something that would create a spark.
Yeah, can you buy flint? I guess yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
stores
yeah,
probably sell flint and steel.
yes, yes, yes.
A little
Um,
starter kit.
yeah, I would have to rely on Plan B, which
Yeah.
would be what we let's say. Um, I won't call it rubbing two sticks together, but the old thing of producing a getting a dowel, putting some string or leather on it, strap, making a bow with it, and making basically a drill out of that to make it go back and forth, or using your hands and do that. I have started a fire that way before. So that's probably what I would end up having to rely on.
And it
And
works.
then you get your light. From that, you get your light, right?
Yes, you do. And that gives you the light that you need to, especially at night. You don't need much light in the daytime, but at night maybe you need light to either read something or to find your way, make it into a torch. Do you have any idea, Shell, not how to make a light bulb, but how a light bulb, how Edison invented his light bulb?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know too much about that. I know that, the basic light bulb, you got to have, um, you know, a vacuum inside the bulb, or if not a vacuum, then certain gases, depending upon the type of bulb, I guess. And then the filament, electricity runs through it, and then what kind of filament, I would not even know, the answer to that question. So I would be in the dark if I was put into a time machine and go back in time. I don't think I'd be able to come up with that one.
Well, but that's okay because we don't necessarily need a light bulb. In fact, for centuries and millennia, they had light. They had light at night. How are some other ways that you can make light?
Well, yeah, if you're going back to those times, then the common method was use the whale oil and burn a whale oil lamp. And so, that might be another method. The candle, making candles.
With a wick?
Yeah.
I
I know
gather
what
that,
your next question is going to be. How do you how do you make a wick?
yeah, how do you
What
make a
makes
wick?
the best wick? I don't know. I don't know what makes the best wick. I don't know how to do that.
But I like the fact that you started a small fire, and therefore you started a light years ago. And so theoretically, even though you've lost some of your mojo, I hear, you could still arguably theoretically make a small fire nowadays, couldn't you?
Yes,
That's
I
just
could. I
What?
could. I don't know how. I don't know how. If everybody could do that, but it's not as easy as people think. Just that whole rubbing two sticks together or making a drill type thing. It's not as easy as people think. You got to have a lot of patience and a lot of elbow grease.
Explain the string and the stick again. You tie a string
Okay,
around
just
the stick, and you have one side on this, and the other side you're gripping it and you have the string. How does the string of the stick hold in place?
okay. So basically, you're making like a bow, as in a bow and arrow, just small one, very small one, and then the string across it, you would end up making a loop, a wrap around a wooden stick, a dowel or
How many
something.
times do you wrap it around?
Um, I I remember doing it just once, but I bet if you did it a couple times, it'd probably be better. I would imagine. There you go. I don't know, but trial and error. You just try that and figure it out. But then the key thing is having a little platform that you've whittled a little hole in, not a hole, just a little a dip in it to set the point of the stick or the dowel in. Then you get another something, a little piece of wood, and whittle a little hole, indentation into that, so you can press down with this hand. Okay, and it's the pressure that's really important. So you get the bow going around the dowel or stick, and then just make it go back and forth, just as if you did this with your hands, and and with it, and then so you got the pressure on there, and the pressure creates the heat down in that lower section, and also it helps to aerate it a little better if you cut a groove onto the side of your board, whatever you're using, so that the little ash can come out and it spills out onto your little tinder, very, very dry something or other, and then the little ashes will fall out onto that, and then get that ignited fairly, hopefully fairly easily. But the drier that stuff is, the better. If you get something that's damp or it's humid out, it's not as easy. And then pressure.
And you did this in the Boy Scouts, or you did this kind of sort of on your own as an experiment?
Yeah, no, it was in the Boy Scouts. I think for some rank or merit badge or something, somewhere along the way, you had to do that. And so yeah, that's where I remember doing it.
See, you did Boy Scouts, and therefore you know how to do things. I did sports, so I don't know how to do things. That's kind of, I don't know how to tie a knot. You know how to tie 26 knots. You could save yourself in the wilderness. I would just say, yeah, God is good. Let's just lay down and wait for the New Jerusalem. I would try to make my way out of the wilderness and try to save myself. But
as a true athlete, yes, that's what you would do. Yes.
As a true athlete, I might have some leverage there, but